All right, so guys, welcome and thanks for joining. I want to basically just go through and cover the best practices of Smarter Contact, how to use it, how to set it up, and how to be successful with it. So the goal today is to go through the best practices. And like I said earlier, if you haven't already watched the training video, we've got a training video that'll show you exactly how to use everything A to Z. If you guys have questions, what I would ask is that if it's an urgent question regarding what I'm asking, you can feel free to ask in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer it. And then I'm also going to hold a Q&A at the very end where you can ask your questions, and we can kind of have a back and forth engagement. So without any further ado, I'm going to go through, and if you have something like a specific point on a question, then just feel free to message us, and we'll try to answer it on the spot. So when you're setting up your account, the purpose of Smarter Contact is to reach out to a large base of motivated sellers for your real estate business. And one thing that you're going to want to do is set up your phone numbers. I know I went through this in the training, but I'm going to show you guys a little more in depth how this works. So I'm going to share my screen. Somebody's got a really cute baby. I'm not sure who that is in their profile picture, but it's adorable. All right, so logged into my account. And when you're in phone setup, so this is going to be one of the most important areas here. So when you're in phone setup, you're going to want to purchase the area codes in your local market. So for example, I'm in the Tampa market. I'm in 813. And if I'm sending out a campaign in the Tampa market, I want to have enough phone numbers to reach that client, because think of it like this. If a client sees a text and it's from another area code that they're not familiar with, they're going to be a little bit suspicious. But if they see a local area code, they're more likely to respond. So that's the key, is just making sure that you use the area code and have enough in your queue that it's going to deliver to everyone in the campaign. So the way that works is the system rotates phone numbers every 200 text messages. So just know in the back of your mind is if you have a list, for example, of 1,000 phone numbers, you're going to need that divided by 200. So it's going to be 5. You're going to need 5 phone numbers. So ahead of time, before you're sending out your campaign, make sure you have enough phone numbers set up in the phone setup screen. And the way the software works is it rotates through the phone numbers. So it's going to go this number, and then this number, and then this number, and then this number every 200. And that stays well ahead of carriers. We have the best delivery out there, period, in the market by far, because of this number rotation algorithm that we have. So just important to know that up front when you're setting up your campaign, to know that you're rotating through your numbers and having enough set up. So yes, you want to organize the area codes. Some of you guys, when I notice, there's a lot of wholesalers, they'll have different markets that they're advertising in. So they'll be in one market, and then they'll be in a completely different state. So that's fine. You can do that. We don't restrict you on area codes you can buy. But if you're going to do it, just know to separate them out. And what I mean by that is, let's say you purchase a phone number here. Say 310. Purchase phone number. Okay. All right. So let's say I purchase a phone number in this area code, and I'm going to do this market here. I got 313. It's going to show up at the top, but let's say I want to do just Tampa. This is 813, which is Tampa. I can drag and drop the phone numbers to the order it's going to go. So it's going to go 200 to this one, 200 to this one, 200 to this one. So if I'm doing a campaign of 1,000 phone numbers, the top 5 need to be the area code that I want. I just drag and drop them. There you go. So just making sure that you guys have that set up. So yeah, if any questions so far, feel free to, like I said, just drop it in the chat, but pretty self-explanatory. So that's that. And then next, let's see here, go through the, Yeah, next when you're setting up your campaign, the idea is to set it into manageable lists. So what we've seen is the users that send 20,000 in bulk at a time. That doesn't really work because you don't have a good rapport with the person that you're reaching out to. The best way to do it is if you're texting somebody, you're texting them back pretty quickly within 10, 15 minutes of them responding. So there's just a natural flow of the conversation. If somebody texts you and you don't respond for a day, they've probably already forgotten about you. They've probably already lost you at this point. So it's just good to have some kind of flow, with the conversation as you go. So what we suggest is not to burn through your leads. Send, a couple hundred a day. Usually what we see is anywhere from 200 to 500 messages a day is a pretty manageable amount. I mean, you could send more, but we see that people with most success are having a catered touch with their messages. The time of day when you're sending out your messages is really important. And in the campaign screen here, when you create a campaign, right? So here you'll create a campaign. Campaign 1. So here you'll create a campaign, and we give you the ability to schedule it, and then also set it up to this feature here, run campaign for a set period of time. This is great because if you're scheduling a campaign and it's supposed to go in batches, this is the power of this. Is let's say you have a list of 1,000, you don't want to send 1,000 at one time. You could do 200 every hour, and you could set it up to go between certain hours. So, having this set up where you're not texting people in the middle of the night or too early in the morning. So typically what we see is between, 10:30 a.m. So like 10:30 to 6 p.m. is an ideal time. And then also, keep in mind, are you on the West Coast or are you on the East Coast? If you're on the West Coast, you might want to start. It might be okay to start a little earlier. It might be okay to start at 10. But, starting at 10 a.m. on the East Coast, you might be targeting some sellers that it's 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning where they're at. So just keep in mind, these little things, and you definitely don't want to be texting people in the middle of the night. So Darren asked, if you have a VA doing the texting in multiple markets during a week, one market per day, what is the best practice to organize numbers? Yeah, so good question. Before they send out each batch, they're going to want to make sure that it's the right area code is ready for that campaign. So if, let's say, they're texting in Texas, they have the Texas area codes lined up before they send out that campaign. So that's just going to be part of your training that you're going to have to do. We're also adding in our own VA service that Smarter Contact is going to be providing soon. So we have our own outsourced virtual assistant service that we're going to be outsourcing and then providing for Smarter Contact customers if you guys want to choose to do that. But that should be something in your training protocol where you're requiring them to make sure that the phone numbers are in the right area code before uploading a campaign. So I hope that answered that for you, Darren. Okay, yeah, so the time of day. And then the next is when you're setting up a campaign, setting up a test, what I always recommend is sending it to yourself first. You guys are all brand new. I mean, most of you guys are brand new, right? So what I would suggest is your first campaign, make it just your first name, your last name, your address, and your phone number. And, see how the system works. Play with it. Use your own cell phone. And even on a normal campaign, what I also do is I'll suggest putting your phone number at the beginning and the end, so you know when it sent, when it didn't send, and just kind of have like a live track of it as well. So I would always suggest putting your name within the campaign, within the list as well. When you're building out a message, we definitely don't recommend giving out your personal information. That is something we'd suggest that you don't do initially until you've built up enough rapport with the customer. So here you can craft and create your own message, right? So hey, first name is a popular one. I noticed a property at this address. Is it yours? it's a good example of an initial message. But if you were to lead with, hey, first name, this is, Amy Smith with ABC Company, I'm interested in buying your house, somebody might actually research who you are that's upset and pissed off at you. So you just want to filter that out by not providing your initial information until you've verified the owner, one, and then also you've built up enough rapport that you feel like this is actually an interested seller that's not going to waste your time and create issues for you. So very important, please don't provide your information. Number two, when you're crafting and creating the message is there's certain things that will get blocked out by carriers. So we have a reputation of having the best delivery out there in the market. I mean, and the numbers speak for themselves with our platform. Some carriers, some SMS providers have issues using the words real estate or investor or cash buyer or buying or selling. We haven't had those issues because of the algorithm and the power behind that. But there are still certain things that will get flagged. So for example, if you put www dot and you send that out 1,000 times, chances are the carriers are going to figure that out and carry it and pick it up. If you put, your phone number in here, right, they're going to pick that up. So definitely would not suggest domains, URLs, phone numbers, anything along those lines. We definitely don't suggest you do. The system actually has a phone forwarding feature, so you wouldn't even need to set up, put a phone number in there because they can just call you back at that number. So just another suggestion there. We've got another comment that came in. I thought I turned off the mic for you guys, so I want to make this a lecture here. Let me turn off the mute. It's probably easier if you guys can live communicate. Yeah, your mic should be working now.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Good morning. Or sorry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How you doing? Yeah, and guys, yeah, feel free. I mean, I want this to be an interactive session. I don't want this to be just a direct thing here. Okay, so far so good, guys. Any questions on what we've reviewed so far?
Yeah, I do have a question. We're trying to use the smart contact, I think last Tuesday. That's the first time that we set up the campaign so we can send out text message. But when we're trying to send a text message, we get an error. It says that we need to put funds first before we can go ahead and send the text message, though we're still on the free trial. So I'm not sure. Do we need to upgrade to Elite account?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I've got Daniela here with our support team. We've got a really great support team here that can help you out, so they can take a look at it and see exactly what happened. So if you could just type your information in the chat box, and Daniela here from the support team will be able to reach out and help you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And my number 2 question is the free templates. It's not showing as well for us to to use it.
The templates?
Yes, it's not showing on our end.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure Daniela can take a look at your account and see what.
Yeah, please send a message on the chat. You have to select to all panelists and attendees, and I'm gonna check that out for you.
Okay, so I'll just message in the chat room. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Is that your baby? Beautiful.
No, I don't. Oh yeah, that's in the picture. I thought you're hearing something. Yep,
Yeah.
She's my baby.
Oh,
Thank you.
so cute.
I thought you're hearing something.
No.
I started getting scared.
No.
Sorry.
All right. So moving on. Next thing, and when you're creating the message, the next thing that I would suggest as well is always having a text merge field in your message, right? So text merge is simply hi, first name, something where every single message is going to be unique. And that's just going to create some variety amongst the messages to also get past carriers. So hi, first name, but having at least one. Hey, the more the better. If you have two is even better, but one is the minimum that you want to have when you're doing this and creating your messages. And then also, we just recently launched a pretty big set of features actually yesterday, and I'll go through those as well. But having several different messages, the key here is not just having one message, but having like 5 at least, and you could rotate through them and finding the one that works best for you. It's hard for us to say like exactly which message works best. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you that, but through your own practice, you really want to find the one that works best, and rotating different ones to A, get a higher delivery rate, and B, to have your own testing go through and see what people are responding to. Generally, what people respond to is this. People respond to something that's easygoing, that's not too formal. When you're, here's the deal. People are sold to every single day. Like I'm sold to, you're sold to, every single one of us is sold to every single day. And we have an ear for somebody trying to sell us, and we have a guard for that. So the key here is to put down somebody's guard by being funny or being fun or easygoing. And what we've found across a lot of research is the more light you are with your conversation and the more easygoing, the more you're relatable and people will consider working with you. So highly suggest, keeping the conversation light as well. So next we're going to go into the lists portion. So when we upload a list,
Adam, I did have one question about the text there. I put it in the question section, but should the text include verbiage for opt-out?
You can if you want. You absolutely can if you want. If they actually reply stop, then they would immediately be removed from the system as a whole. So if they reply stop, they would immediately be removed.
Great.
Yeah. And then there's additional things that you can add in there as well to filter people, and I'll add that as well here. So when you're creating a list, I'm going to just find the sample list we've got here. So when you're creating a list, typically we give you a 5,000 cap of phone numbers you can upload at one time, and you can add to it if you'd like, or add multiple lists if you like, but we just started with that as 5,000, and you could do as many lists as you want. And when you're doing it, we have this filtration option, which is pretty cool. This filters basically your leads. So we typically recommend you check off all of these, because what it's going to do is it's going to filter out all the litigators, people on the DNC, your undeliverables that are used from previous campaigns. So it basically scrubs out your list, and it's going to automatically remove, anybody that fits into any one of these categories. So very, very cool feature as well. And now coming soon, I know we've been in business for a bit, and we're getting a lot of demand for this. But as a texting platform, you really don't need landlines. I'm not sure who you guys use for skip tracing. Like who all do you guys use for your skip tracing? Don't all talk at once here.
REI Automator.
Okay. REI, I've heard of them, but there's so many providers out there. The key, what we found is, especially with SMS, is getting mobile only data. That's going to be the key here. So we have a skip tracing integration coming. We basically found the highest level tier data out there on the market. And not only that, but we're also going to be able to pull out your landline data. So when you get data from us, you're going to get a file of all the hits, And then you're going to have the ability to take out the landlines. So instead of paying the 2 cents per, landline through Smarter Contact, you'll be able to remove those out. And you have now a separate file where you can either call them, you can reach out to them directly through the landline, but then you're not getting charged through Smarter Contact at 2 cents. And you're just now reaching out to the mobiles. And you have a higher delivery rate, which is better as well. So we will have that as of next week. We'll have our skip tracing coming out, and you'll be able to filter out the landlines, which will be quite huge. So next here, all right. So next is going to be setting up your grades. Your grades is going to be really important. So here's what this is, and here's the value here is, Smarter Contact is a CRM. Right, it's a very simple CRM. It's not as efficient as maybe Podio, but it's simple. It's very pliable. It's very malleable to the point where you can change the grades as you want. And when you have these messages coming in, right, you have all these texts coming in. This account wasn't set up right because they didn't upload the names correctly. But as you have the names coming in, you can sort by different grades. Right? So here you can sort by the grades. And then when you're setting up your grades, ideally you want to name them what you want. So out of the box, it's high, medium, low, and nurture, but you can change these to, good lead, bad lead. And then you have a way of tracking all of your leads and classifying them. So here, if I want all my motivated sellers, boom, I've got my motivated sellers. And I can easily now send them a message and follow up. So next, let's see here, we got on the list. Yeah, your macros. So macros are cool. That's going to be huge because, every day you're going to get the same questions. You're going to get, hey, how did you get my number? Who are you? What's your offer? You're going to get the same 5 or 6 or 7 people, same responses from people. So instead of you having to think about it every single time, think about, hey, what am I going to say in this situation? What am I going to say in that situation? The key is setting up the perfect response every time. So we've built that for you. And we actually have some good canned responses. And this would be the area that you set those up. So, before you get going, we really recommend setting those up. To everybody here, if you can just drop your email, if you can send in all panelists and guests, just type in your email. We have Daniela who will be able to send those out to you. We have our cheat sheet of the best macros and responses that we have that we've seen. So Daniela will be able to send those out to you guys here today.
Question.
Yeah.
In regards to the macros, do you have to set that up inside the text message, or how do you go about setting it up? I was trying to set that up yesterday.
Awesome. Yeah, glad you asked. I can go through here and create one. Super easy. So you basically just name it. So like I would name it a situation. So let's say, who are you? Like, let's say the seller asks, who are you, right? This would be a scenario. Something like this. And save it. Now it's in. So now it's here. Now that you've saved it, you can access it right from this menu. So the next time somebody asks, hey, who are you? It's right there.
So that's inside the text message, and then you click on macros. Sorry.
Correct. Yeah. You just click the macros button once you've set it up, and any one of these messages. Let's say they said, hey, I want too much for the house and, they want full price and you want to sell it to a realtor, you can do that. Or, let's say they're not interested. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's it. That's all I want. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. And you can actually do that from either here or the quick chat screen. This is really a cool feature because if you don't want to go to the main screen every time and just quickly chat with people, you can. And you also have access to it right here. So you can quickly just send it instead of having to go all the way to this screen. So it's another little feature there. So that's that. Let's see here. So we've actually got a few updates this week. We recently put in our ClickThrough Messenger, where when you do a campaign to stay TCPA compliant, we make you basically click through all the messages. So I'll show you a demo. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen these before or seen this, but basically to send the campaign, you have to hit the key to go through. I mean, you could do 100 of these in 30 seconds. And, we've got some live tracking and things like that. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Also, mobile texting alerts is a feature that we recently added. This is great when you're going to get sellers that are on certain lists. Let's say they're on a really motivated list. What you would do is select grades and select, warm leads, hot leads, and motivated sellers. And anytime somebody texts you from any one of these buckets, your cell phone is going to get a notification. It's going to get a text that says, that's going to give you the copy of that message from the seller. And the reason why this is important, guys, is the timing is everything. So if somebody texts you and they're hot, they're interested right now. They might lose their interest tomorrow. So, most of you guys are texting between normal hours, 11 to 6. So if somebody texts you at 7 p.m., I mean, you could still text them back. So this will shoot your personal cell or call rail or Google Voice a copy of that text. Also, Smarter Contact is mobile friendly. So you can still log on your personal phone, your Android or iPhone or any smartphone, and quickly just send a quick message. You can reply back. You can use the search function and just send that seller a quick message from your from logging in. A common question with this is, can you use your personal phone to text? No, not until we build the mobile app. We've got a mobile app coming out that we're in the process of building. But for now, all you just got to do is log in on your mobile browser if you don't have a laptop, and you can send them a message back. So I see some questions popping in here. Okay, Q&A. Okay. All right. Looks like all the questions have been answered so far. All right. So as we go through, in terms of the sales side, going back, I can't iterate the importance of having a very personal message, something that's personal, and something with character. When I first started doing this stuff, I've seen all types of messages that work, like, hey, it's my birthday and I'd love to buy your house or something, or something fun, something really fun and personable. And if you can get somebody to laugh or create an emotional spark in a positive way, you're much more likely to stand out. So just really recommend that, and being empathetic with people. Also, the two other things I didn't go over are going to be your notes. Note taking is going to be crucial, and the reason why is your follow-up is going to be where you're going to get the deal. Most sales in real estate, most sales courses and the sales gurus, they all teach you that you're going to get your deal on the 4th to the 6th follow-up. It's rare that on the first one that you're just going to get the very first time you talk to somebody. You've got to build up enough of a rapport with them. So to do that, you have to have a good talk track of what you talked about. So let's say, for example, I talked to Christina, and Christina says, Adam, listen, I like you. I want to do a deal, but not right now. We maybe create a conversation about something else. Let's say we talk about, the weather, or we talk about, her kids going to college or something like that. What I would do is, as a sales professional, I would actually write that down. That's valuable rapport building information that I can bring up the next time I talk to Christina. So in 2 weeks, when I call Christina back, hey, this is Adam, I'm following up with you. How are your kids doing? How did they go off to college? Like having that rapport. So the way to do that here is in the notes. I mean, you could do it your own way. I don't want to sound overly prescriptive, but this is what we found is you would put the date. So for example, just 5/7, a little timestamp, talked with Christina and, kids going to college, follow up. And now in, let's say 2 weeks from now, I can, called, left, voicemail, didn't answer. And then, now you've got a talk track and things that you can reference in the conversation. All this can be exported to Podio. Any detail in here, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, any of the information, including the notes, can be exported to your Podio if you are using Podio as a CRM. It's just a good practice, and I think it'll help, practice that rapport building. So just another cool tool as well to have. Next is your follow-up calendar. So this is going to be great. It's very similar to Google. That was my vision when I first built this, is do something similar to Google. We're actually creating an integration with Google Calendar here soon, where it'll fill your Google Calendar. But let's say I set this as a follow-up for the 14th. It'll show up. For some reason, it's not working. I guess I'm going to update something. But yeah, the name will actually populate here, and you can click it, and it'll take you direct to the conversation. So not sure why just today it decided not to work, but normally that does populate. So that's another cool feature. And ideally, you'd want to have a pretty full calendar of follow-ups, of conversations that you say, hey, I'm going to follow up with you in 2 weeks, and then you just check your calendar and it'll be there. Or it has also a daily view where you can see all the follow-ups you've got. Next is using the system as a cash buyer tool. You're selling deals, you've got them under contract. Also managing and selling the deals is going to be very important. So what we encourage you is, hey, you're paying for Smarter Contact as an SMS platform to buy the deals. It's a no-brainer to use it to sell your deals. Email campaigns are starting to die. I mean, people don't really check email the way they used to. And your cash buyers are on their phone waiting on their deal. So if you're not using texting to sell your deal, you're missing out. And we made it really easy for you to do that. We have a feature called static campaigns. It's super simple on how to set it up. So so recommend, when you have your deals under contract, gating your cash buyers numbers, skip tracing your cash buyers, and then selling them the deals directly using the system as well. And then another bit of information that we find is a lot of people use Smarter Contact not just for sellers on wholesale deals, but there are different scenarios. Let's say somebody wants full price. Let's say they have a house that's worth $300 and they want $290. That's not a wholesale scenario, but it's a scenario to partner with a real estate agent, or if you are a real estate agent or have a license to sell their deal for them. There's different ways you could do that. Also, subject to is very popular as well. So if you have somebody that has an existing mortgage that you could take over, there are definitely plenty of deals out there besides just wholesale. So just giving you guys the full scope of this. This isn't just a tool to pick up wholesale deals. There's a whole set of different ways to pick up deals. So would recommend knowing those channels as well. And just lastly, what I'd leave you guys with is this is a numbers game. There are most definitely deals. We have people closing deals left and right with the platform, but it is a numbers game. The more text, the more follow-up, the more efficient you are, the more deals you're going to get. So it's just being patient, being consistent, and just knowing that this is a numbers game, that you will succeed. It's just a matter of how many you send out. So that's overall, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that was overall helpful, and now I'll open it up to a Q&A for anybody that has any questions. Yeah, Jewel, your question is, will this be accessible for later use? I did record it. So yes, I'll create a link, and we can send that over to you as well. All right. Well, it looks like all your questions are answered. It doesn't look like there's anything else. The free trial. Okay, so a question about the free trial. We're trying to send out our first 50 text messages. We received an error saying we need to put more funds in. Yeah, so Evangeline, Daniela will take a look at your account. Thanks for providing your email addresses. We'll send those out to you. Yeah, definitely be on the lookout, guys. Our skip tracing service will be a game changer. That's gonna be huge to pull out your landline data, and it's, I mean, bar none, the best data out there on the market. So
one more question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying, for a person starting out, 200 to 500 texts a day that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 200 to 500, because you just want to have a good follow-up and engagement with your client.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you could ramp it up. You could even do 1,000, even if after you've started out. But yeah, 200 to 500 would be a good start there. Also, too, we have a private Facebook group. If you guys haven't joined already, Daniela, can you drop a link in the group chat to the Facebook group?
Yes, definitely. Give me a second.
All right, cool. Daniela, by the way, is our all-star customer success. So she's actually new with us, and she's amazing. If you guys have any questions, we have a really great support team. And the way to do that is if you just go right on the live page. So if you go right, actually, well, you can go on the landing page, or you can go into help and support. And this little pop-up will come up. And there's our support team, and you can ask a question, and we'll get back to you. Usually under an hour, we'll get back to you.
Yeah, I just sent the link. Everybody can see it? Yeah.
Yep, I can see it, yep.
Okay, awesome. I think Evangeline just sent me a message. I just reply. I don't know if that was you, because I see the account is named Pamela. So I replied to your message, and if it's not clear, you can send me a message again.
Yes, I see it. I just got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniela. Any questions, guys, before we wrap it up? All right, great. I guess it went well. So yeah, thanks for your time today, guys, and yeah, we'll send you guys a recording as well of this, so you've got it for your records. So thanks for your time. Check out the private Facebook group. So the link is there to join our Facebook group for the updates and everything, and yeah, for support, we've got that intercom chat on the Smarter Contact page. So thanks for your time. Bye.
Thank you, Adam. Bye-bye.